All the readings point to that fact, that in Christ's name, and in that name, and only by that name shall we be saved. Isn't that was the readings we just read here? And some of us, we live in a world and we try to be kind to our brothers and sisters. We are told to be kind to our brothers and sisters, to be concerned about those who don't believe, and we are. But Christ came for them also, those who do not believe. But we cannot say that those who do not call on Jesus Christ, that name, we cannot say that they are saved. We cannot say that. We cannot say. We cannot say that a Muslim call on, or let's say Prophet Muhammad, or some Jews call on, whoever they call on, Adonai, whatever they call on. They don't use to call on the name Jesus Christ. This person is not saved. Please pick that person. It doesn't mean that we are cruel to them. It doesn't mean that we are harsh to them, or we judge them in this way. We are the light of the world and the salt of the earth. We are to be that example, that this name is the name that we shall be saved by. This is what the prophets foretold. Lastly, we see in the gospel that you see the 40 generations that lead to Jesus Christ, which shows that the promise has been kept. In St. Matthew, and I think in St. John, it goes to the lineage. This one born from this one, and this one born from that one, and the Rubel, and each generation, 14, 14, 14, then the mother of Joseph, the parents of Joseph and Mary, then the parents of Jesus, all the way up to Christ. So from Adam to Christ, we have the whole lineage. So it shows this is there not to try to give a justification for lineage more so than how when you write a check, you have to write in the little box, you put the number, $300. Right. Then what they say to do after that? You got to write it out. 2 times. The second time, well, not so much a cosign. It's the same as the numbers. It's not a cosign. It's the same as the numbers, so it's the same. The way the banks work, if you write 301 in the box, and you write out 300, guess what they're gonna pay?
301.
No. The one you wrote.
Oh, the one you wrote.
The word carries.
Yeah.
The word. The numbers, $301 in the little box on the check, that's what you wrote. But when the bank sees that, he wrote 301 there, but he wrote out $300.00. Right. He wrote that out in words. The bank, then they have to make a decision. They will cash the check for 300, following the words. The words is what carries. The word is what carries. Christ is the living word. You see. And his lineage has been justified. The promise has been fulfilled. That's why they went through the born from this and born from this and born from this and born from this, to show that from all generations coming forward, that this Christ, this Emmanuel, this God with us, is the prophesied God.
He
is the true promise.
It's the same God, but it's just that at that dispensation of time, Christ wasn't really manifested in the same.
That's exactly right. That's very good. And it's in this time that he has come in his fullness, It's not, and this is how we have to understand. So these readings are very good for this.
Moses never said it too.
It's the same God,
no,
of course.
Yeah, Moses said that
yes.
Coming and be the one that's going to do the Savior and
right.
Look to.
Right.
So this prophet that's coming, Moses spoke about. We just met a little while ago.
Yeah.
I think it was Rome, but the Roman.
Yeah. If you exactly. Yeah. Exactly. If you read all the readings, everything is it connects really, really well. Just really quick, we have even the time of Christ, after the time of Christ, first, second century, a lot of people, a lot of Jews that were first Christians, were Jews, they believed that Christ was this Messiah. Those first Christians that came into the church, the ones that believed in him. They came into the church, and they preached Jesus Christ. But you know, they had a problem. They still had a problem, a lot of them. They didn't believe he was the Son of God. They believed that he was the Messiah. There was a lot of them that believed that he was the Messiah, but did not believe that he was the Son of God. That part they didn't have a firmness on. And the fullness of time they did, but there's some groups even that broke away, that when as people, the apostles taught them properly, and they learned that he is the true logos. The logos is Greek terminology, is the word. You know, he's the true logos. You know, logo like a logo. A logo is a word. Yeah, yeah. Logos is a word. You know, and this is what was taught. And we have to understand Christ as the living word. You know, we have to see that, and it has never been any different. You know, from the time that God spoke to the time that is written to the time of his coming in the flesh, it's all the same. You know, God was first of all for us the spoken word. He spoke and said, "Let there be light." He spoke everything into existence. He spoke existence into existence. He spoke eternity into eternity. He spoke infinity into infinity. God created infinity. He said, "Let there be light," right? He spoke everything into existence. Then after a time, as you say, using the readings, you know, man had to build a bridge between himself and man, so he offered man the written word. What's the difference between the spoken word and the written word? Absolutely nothing. Except now, man has something he can have a connection with. He has a bridge he can cross that brings him closer to God. It's that material that's necessary for him to interact with his God. You know, some religions say, "Oh, you're not supposed to have icons because God said no graven images," and all that. Well, how are you gonna interact with God? Through like metaphors and things like this. The word became that figure of God. It was the figure of him, so that there could be no doubt, to try to erase the doubt of the mind of human beings. So he gave us the word to erase the doubt. You don't have any doubt, because here's the word right here. You see, you can read it, and you can give this to your son, give this to your son, give this to your son, give this to your son. It's the same word I spoke. But I didn't have it. You didn't have it written before, but now it's written, so you can pass it along. You know, the Ten Commandments was written with the finger of God, they say. You know, he's written with the finger of God. You know, but this connects God to the flesh, because the next thing he became was what? The living word, spoken word, the written word. Then lastly, he became the living word, became the flesh of Christ. Through the flesh of Christ, through the Virgin Mary, flesh of Mary, he became the living word. It's the same three words. It's the same word he spoke. It's the same word he wrote. It's the same word in the flesh. It's the same, but it's fulfilled in the flesh. You know how they say that, you know, you read how God wrote with the finger of God the tablets of Moses, the word, right? They say he wrote with the finger of God. You remember when they were going to stone the harlot? They caught her. She was in an adulterous affair, I guess it was, and they were going to stone her. There's one place in Scripture where Christ never wrote or anything, but you know the one place in Scripture? What did he do? He put his finger into the dirt. You see this?
Yeah.
This shows his oneness with God. That he's gonna save her her salvation came to her not by some happenstance or some stroke of luck. There's no luck. This is the presence of God, the salvation of God. He justified that by when he put his finger in the ground. You know, there's a lot of different things I've read about that, the meaning of that. You know, the earth, him interacting with the earth with his finger like this, sort of implies that, you know, maybe I've heard, you know, it implies that maybe it was you can kind of see that as him interacting with the Virgin Mary as an intercessor, because she's like the mother, like Mother Earth, you know. She's like an intercessor, sort of implies her, infers her. Not saying that Mary's not dirt or the earth, but it implies that, you know, he is seeking out and giving justification to a mediatrix, someone that would interact in between me and the salvation that I'm going to offer to her. These kinds of things are very relevant, and it shows the significance of God, the Word, that he did become true flesh, and he became true God. He's true God and true flesh. He's truly man and truly God. That's why that gospel reading is so important for us, because that reading shows us that God fulfilled the promise, and when Christ said it is finished, it was finished. Lastly, there are those who believed at one time about Christ, and these people are still today. You ever heard of these? Some of them, they say they're Gnostic people. They have like a Gnostic faith, Gnostics. In other words, they have a belief that they even say they're Christians. They have this belief that all of the faith of the church is good and everything else, right? But the material part of the church is bad. Taking communion, kissing crosses, touching things, and all this kind of things. I see Christians, Orthodox particularly, they see us touching and kissing crosses and taking communion and interacting with physical things. And they say, these people are devils. I've heard this. They think this is like people who are pagan worshipers, like that. There's people like this. They're Christians. They have lots of churches out there. And they look at things like this and they say, oh, this is not good. This is not good. Because these things are corrupted. The physical elements are corrupted. How could you have a physical relationship with the Spirit? The Spirit is true. The Spirit is pure. In other words, without being complicated, it's a very complicated thing, but the simplest way that I can describe what they're talking about is, how you see how the world is created, with the sun and the boom and earth, and you see how the volcanoes make islands, and you look at how the earth is storms and rivers push mountains and valleys are made. You see the kind of a violence, in the creation. They see the creation in that way. It's sort of like this violent and bad thing. So anything physical, therefore, needs to be tempered or brought to be good, and is made good by the Spirit. So in other words, we don't interact with it. We have to control it. You know what I'm saying? We have to control it. We have to control it. It can't offer us anything. We have to control it. It's sort of a strange, and it's very strange. But that's not our teaching. That's not our teaching. That's why that gospel reading is so important, that Christ is the fulfillment. Christ is the true promise. And God strengthen us all.
Yeah, Moses stick.
Good examples. You see this example? I just don't want to go too far, but he's right. There's many things. So I don't want to go too far, but Moses' stick, why? God didn't have to give Moses a stick to do anything. Boom, right? Remember the blind man? Right? When the guy asked the man to give him his sight, So Christ reached down to the earth again, took the earth, and he put this spittle, and he made a paste, and he mashed it in his eye. What do you see now? Oh, I see men walking as trees. So he put, what do you see now? And then he can see. Now, this is God. Do he need to make this? He don't need to do that. He don't need to do that. But he did. Did he need to go and have somebody pour water over him in the river? Remember when he came to John and said, told John to baptize him, right? And he goes and stand in the Jordan River and he poured water over top of him. We're going to be celebrating that in the next few days too. Sebeket, right? Yes. Did he need John to do that? What are these people talking about? Christ is he contradicts everything these people say out here about don't kiss crosses and don't take communion and they don't even believe in baptism. Put your hand, you hear him sometimes, put your hand on the screen and just say this and say that and then you'll be saved. Like that. Just say like Muslims do. Like Muslims, they have this thing that I think they call it the shahada or something like that, where you make this statement, and by saying this thing, you instantly, boop, you blink into being Muslim. You just magically become Muslim.
So nothing is washed away?
Nothing.
Nothing is washed away. What is the clean from your sins?
You continue to wallow in your sin.
They also were afraid to wash their hands and their feet and stuff.
Yeah, but see,
show, right?
That's an interesting point, that they will wash their hands and feet for their prayer, but you won't wash your feet for your soul. Because they don't, this is the whole point, they don't feel that the body is of any value. That's why they kill themselves, so they can go to heaven, to martyrdom themselves. Our Christian martyrs didn't do that. We didn't go to martyrdom for the sake of martyrdom. We went to martyrdom for the sake of Christ. You say, oh, Christian and Muslim martyrs, I've heard that. Christian martyrs and Muslim martyrs, they're the same. No. We don't put on, like, bombs.
No.
You know, we don't have this martyrdom culture where we martyr
To get saved,
for salvation. We say Jesus Christ is Lord. If you kill me for that, then that's martyrdom.
That's right.
But I didn't come to martyrdom. I came to preach Jesus Christ, and you killed me.
For that.
That's martyrdom for us.
Yeah.
Well, only thing we can do is preach Jesus Christ. If you don't kill me, then I'm going to live.
Right.
We won't have any martyrs if nobody don't kill us for preaching Jesus Christ. Nobody will kill us. If nobody's going to kill us, we have no martyrs. So for us Orthodox, yeah. So we're not the same. We're not. You can't say Muslim martyrs and Christian martyrs. We're not the same. As far as Christians are concerned, the Muslim martyrs are not really martyrs in that sense. As we come into the Advent time tomorrow, just bear on these things. That Christ came in the flesh as the living word for us. He is truly man and he's truly God. He was really born just like we were all born. He was really a baby. He needed water. He needed to be held like a child. If he wasn't truly man, he wasn't the real Messiah. If he was truly man and truly God, he had to be both of these. If he wasn't truly man and truly God, then he can't save anyone, because he was not the true Messiah. He has to be both of those. That's the mystery of this whole thing. God strengthen and keep you. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and God. Amen.
Amen.